Ladies, we are officially live on Facebook. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to our final episode of Wisdom Wednesday Insider Series 2. I tell you one thing, I really enjoyed my family during the holidays. We had an amazing time, but I missed you, lady.
Well, we missed you as well.
Thank you. I needed my Wisdom Wednesday.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
I was able to rest, and hopefully everyone was able to do the same to kind of rest up and be prepared. But it seems like it's been forever, and it's definitely been all year since we've been here on the platform for Wisdom Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Well, without further ado, guys, my name is Letitia Grant. I'm the national chair of House Then the Car, located here in Houston, and I am joined by my co-host.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Stephanie Milburn. I am the campaign manager for House in the Car, and we are happy to be back with our last show, Wisdom Wednesday. And we are joined by our awesome partner, Miss LaTanya Donaldson of Prime Lending.
Well, hello, ladies. Hello. It is so good to be back for the last show. As you said, Letitia, I had some amazing downtime during the holidays with my family, but I did miss you guys. But I'm going to tell you when I particularly missed you, when you beautiful ladies were up on the slopes. That's when I really missed you because I was like, I should be there with them.
Next time. Be sure to join us next time.
Right, exactly. Well, I'm LaTanya Donaldson with Prime Lending, and we are so honored to be here and host this last show with House in the Car. It has certainly been a phenomenal time. I don't know why I can't talk today, and it has certainly been an exciting ride as we prepare our potential home buyers for this journey.
Yeah, I so totally agree. And being home for the holidays, as we are in the series of Home for the Holidays, it's finally time to meet our audience at the closing table, guys.
That's right. That is correct.
It is so much.
That's a good place to meet. That's a good
that
place
is always a good place to meet, right? There's nothing like it.
Exactly. So our clients have been through so much during this process. Of course, all easygoing. Of course, locating that house, they found the perfect home for them and their family. They're working with their lender. They finally got all of those documents in, had their inspections, had their appraisal. And I'm just here to tell you, every speaker that we have had thus far has just poured it out, just poured their hearts out for us. And then now we're here at the closing table. And let's just talk about being at the closing table. First, it's important to take two people with you to the closing table. And in today's world, though, that take with you is technically virtual. I know many of our closings are now, especially in Houston, they're taking place in the car. It's like a drive-through closing. They're sending mobile notaries out to your home just due to COVID. So we do kind of want to talk about some of the changes that we've seen in the industry where closing takes place. And for those of you that don't know, the closing in many states takes place at the title company. In some states, the title work is done by an attorney, and the closing is also done by an attorney. So either way, again, there are different states have different requirements. So here in Houston, in Texas, actually, we close with a title company. And it's ironic that I said title company because now at this time, who have we been joined by?
And sorry, hold on a second.
Okay. Kathy, it was like perfect timing. As soon as I said title company, ding ding, there it is.
Wow.
And there she is.
Thank you. I'm sorry I look a little crazy. It's raining where I am, and I just
you look fabulous. As
We
always.
pulled into one of my friends, her dog rescue, and you'll never guess what happened while I was sitting here. Did you see her? Yeah.
Is she laying on your lap?
Well, he's sitting next to my computer. He is now going home with me.
I love it.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, Kathy, we just literally, as you dinged in, as you rang our virtual doorbell, we just said that many closings take place at the title company. We kind of gave our audience a rundown of all the things that we've gone through during this series to get them here to be home for the holidays. But briefly, just kind of tell us, and then we'll jump right into the audience questions. What is the true functionality of a title company?
Sorry, there's other people talking.
And I am so sorry. Before we get started, Letitia, can we just take a minute and allow Kathy to introduce herself and the company that she works for, because she is a phenomenal person that's been in the business for a very long time. So, Kathy, can you just introduce yourself to the audience and kind of tell them your role and title?
Yes, I think I do everything but write the check. No, I'm kidding. I am Senior Vice President of Business Development and Marketing for Tiago Title, and we have 2 locations, Plano and Dallas. But, nowadays with COVID and before COVID, we wanted to provide convenience for all realtors and clients to close anywhere. So we do mobile, remote. I mean, if it exists, we make sure it happens. So, and I'm here to grow businesses for the realtors, the lenders, the vendor partners, as well as help, your clients have a happy home. So make the experience nice.
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much for that. Now, will you also tell our audience what is the true function of a title company? We know that this is where we go to get our keys, but your process starts long before that.
Oh yeah. So I mean, from even before you get the contract, we receive, if it's a listing, we receive an address. We go and research, make sure there's no cloud, which we'll, I'm sure, go over that at some point. Liens, judgments, claims. We want to make sure it's an easy, smooth process for closing. From before you even get the key, there's a lot of things that are in between.
Yeah, and it's important that our audience understands that, which is why your contract is receipted at the title company. Basically, as soon as it's executed, it goes straight to the title company, and the title company picks it up from there, and they don't stop until you receive your keys.
That's right. We want you to have your keys and the garage door opener.
So, Kathy, in our earlier episodes, we spoke about title, but we just kind of drove a little bit deeper by asking your role. And we also talked about when the process started. Yes. But I heard you say cloud on title. So many of our members, or those that are on Facebook, they may have heard the word clean title. And you're saying you're looking to ensure that there are no clouds on title. What exactly does that mean?
Well, we want to make sure that title's clear without any liens or levies from creditors or other parties. And it's not just about the ownership or the owners, it's about the address too. It could be anywhere from the address or the lot, the house, the builder that built on top of the lot. We just have to know all the details from the dirt to the rooftop.
And in the event there is a cloud found, does it prolong the time? Does it prevent an individual from closing?
All depending on what type of cloud it is. It could, unfortunately, be a little bit slower process, but technically a cloud, if it's resolved, we're able to move along as long as everybody and all parties work together to make sure the process is smooth, from the county clerk to the lender to, I mean, if it's a lien, we have to go through a different process sometimes, going through, depending on what type of lien. It could be a mechanic's lien, it could be, a lender's lien. It just depends on where the process comes from and how we get started.
Okay. Now tell us one other thing. I have one more question, and I see LaTanya moving forward, so that means she has one as well. But in a perfect world, because I mean we all like perfect, right? In a perfect world, And let's
Yes.
not talk about what I would look like if this world was perfect. But
Same.
in a in a perfect world, how long would it take this process for you, Kathy, from start to finish with just title?
Well, our standard turnaround time is 2 to 5 days in the larger metroplexes, which is pretty quick. When you go to the small counties, it could take a little longer, depending on who holds the title and the title plant. It could take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, unfortunately, but it all depends again on the title plant and the county, because property records, they're at different title companies, and we have to get title evidence, and it could take a little bit of time. It just, again, it's another situation where it's all teamwork.
So our cash buyers out there, those of you that are listening, do not bring a contract and say, well, I can close tomorrow. You heard Kathy say 3 to 5 days if you want a clear title. There it is.
That's right. So you're going to have to add that to the loan closing time. Set the expectations so your clients are always happy.
Right.
So once the preliminary title is produced and sent to the lender, how much time do you need to close from that?
I mean, all of it impacts, if it's a perfect world and there's no title issues, again, it's 2 to 3 days. But the closing agent reviews the lender's instructions and requirements and from all parties. And then also there's legal and loan documents that we have to do, prepare the closing. So it, 2 to 3 days if we're rushing it, in a perfect world. And then it all depends on, again, on, could be 5 to 14 days on the rest of it. And, then if we have probates and airships and wills, then there's a whole different circumstance.
And I was going to ask that question. You kind of just segued into it. So what are some of the things that you see? We all refer to it as the closing table, right? What are some of those things that can pop up last minute at the closing table that are revealed because you talked about probate and
Yes.
and those type of things?
Well, those are probably the things that we tell our agents and even lenders. Hey, if you can get it, the sooner you get us the address, the better, because we want to make sure, the things that pop up a lot could be the airship, if somebody passed away, and there are step brothers and sisters and half brothers and siblings. And the more family members we have in the blended communities we have now with our families, that the little bit more difficult it could be, because I mean, we've had closings where we've had 12 brothers and sisters, step, halves, and real. And
I was about to say, sometimes we don't even know about those sisters and brothers.
That's right. You're right about that. And then some of them they didn't know, and they were fighting over $12,000 of earnest money, and they all got about $100 check each by the time they were all finished. Whoa. So those are things we have to know, and the families have to continue. Sorry if it's a little loud. The families have to continue to communicate. And then you have those who unfortunately get divorced and they have a second or third ex-wife they did not take off the note or the deed. And then the fourth ex-wife comes in and buys a house, and then they still need the second ex-wife to come off the deed. So she didn't know there was a second ex-wife. So
that's a problem.
Right, that is a problem.
I'm calling Jerry Springer. I'm telling you right now.
I know, right? What tango webs we weave, right?
I know. I mean, and these are all worst case scenario, but they are very real life. And it's unfortunately, but we're prepared for those, and we just have to know, hey, we need to make sure. And I know that's a lot on the listing side, but as a buyer, you want to make sure that there's no cloud. So you want to, be good to the seller's agent too. Both buyers and sellers, you're a team regardless. Communication between the two of you is very important. To be able to say, hey, seller's agent, what's it look like? I know you want to sell the property, so be honest with me and do a little work too. I've got our realtors that open title so that they can tell the buyer side, hey, we open title. And on the buyer side, you should ask, hey, so you open title with Tiago Title. can you send me the information they sent you? And we do a soft pull. It says, oh, there's no Mrs. Jones left on the title. She's been removed and it's free and clear, no claims, deeds, or judgments that we can see. Now, other things can pop up if things are going into foreclosure. Then you've got attorney fees that we don't sometimes know about, and they'll just show up because nobody checked the mail or checked the email, or they like to show all those fees after the fact. So, hope that I didn't keep rambling about it.
No. That's so Stephanie, what are being a realtist, what are some of the things that you have experienced as it relates to title? And
well, just one thing that actually came up today, one of my clients wanted to know if the title company would be able to tell him if he has to pay capital gains on a property that he's selling. So, Kathy, is that something that do you find out if the seller has to pay capital gains on a property?
Yes, we can do that. I mean, obviously, it might be not be to the penny. I mean, there's some work that has to be done as a partnership between ourselves and the bank or whomever, the county. There's a little bit more investigated work, but we have done that as well as judgments. I mean, it's a little lengthy, can be a little tedious feeling, but we make sure that we do our best to find that information out.
Yeah, gotcha. So I unfortunately have 3 issues. 2 of them where someone passed away, and that can get very challenging. And although we'd like to never deal with those, it seems as though I have made myself an expert on an heirship affidavit.
Yep.
And not really fond of it, but Kathy, will you tell our audience about the need and when you would need to have an heirship affidavit?
Well, your heirship affidavits are best from an attorney. So I'll definitely throw my disclaimer in there and say that I'm not an attorney. Okay. But per our attorney, because I've made sure I clarified it with him, there are 2 ways titles transferred. So we speak to, like he sent me the whole thing. Like I said, don't write me a paragraph. I have to talk. But I definitely want to quote him. He said, when a person dies without a will, that person died intestate. In this situation, Texas provides very specific rules referred to as rules of intestate succession. So if a person dies in the state of Texas basically has made a will for that person. The process is complicated, but we provide an heirship questionnaire for the families and it's sent to the owner to complete. The answer will dictate who the heirs of the property are. So, and then it turns into an heirship affidavit. And it gets filed with property records, and once filed, the title is updated. Sorry, my sister's loud. Anyway, so depending on how quickly the parties complete those steps, it dictates the timeline of the closing. It could be less than a week, and it could take months. So again, and all depending on how many siblings and spouses and all that has involved.
I'll just say here, and this has nothing to do with title, but listeners, I would hopefully what your takeaway is, the importance of a will.
Yes. The importance of a will and having that will and taking that to probate. And taking that to probate before the pandemic. Because I do have a client. We were waiting on the courts, and the court said, "Oh, well, it'll be signed by the judge in a week." That 1 week turned into 3 months, because unfortunately during that time, hence the pandemic, and the courts were closed. They were not there to sign, but we had already placed the home on the market with the anticipation that we would have it signed by the judge in a week. So we've had a tenant in our home for about 3 months. And we didn't plan to have a tenant. It was supposed to be a sale. So that's just some of the things that, you kind of get into. But as Kathy stated, having great partnership is everything. Partnership between the buyer, the seller, the listing, the agent, the sales agent, the title company, and of course the lender as well. Having that partnership working together for you is what's going to take you to the closing table.
That's right.
But it doesn't stop there, Kathy. What happens after the closing?
Well, after the closing, oh my goodness, there's so many things besides continuing to take care of your home, winterize, spring cleaning, and the joy of having it home ownership. You
I was
have
actually
to
talking
also.
about funding.
Oh yeah, funding. Yes, you get the funding. I mean, I just assume that happens regardless because we want it to happen. But to definitely get the funding is there. It's clear to close sometimes, and I'm sure Latanya can tell you. Even though we say those fun words, it doesn't mean I'm moving in 5 minutes. It means okay, we've processed a few steps, and now we're on to the next. And some checks have got to clear. We got to pay the bank off from the last person that had the house, and that's a funding process. And so we're waiting on the lender that owned the house prior to the new lenders owning the house. The money's got to transfer. Then you get the keys and the garage door opener. Then we have, set up that home warranty. We do a lot of things with the partners that are going to continue to take care of you through your home ownership and your next sale.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I had, just from a lender perspective, of course, during the process of purchasing a home, the lender is going to give you an estimate of what the closing costs are. Okay.
Yes.
And closing costs consist of, and we talked about this in some earlier episodes, Letitia and Stephanie, but just to kind of recap, closing costs consist of the fees from the lender, the title company, the title, okay, homeowners insurance. We have prepaid and the actual closing costs. So the lender will give you an estimate. We will try to be as accurate as possible, but that is not the accurate number, right? So who gives that last final number? And we refer to it as well, I'll let you speak on the HUD one. I just kind of wanted you to talk about the HUD one a little bit.
Well, if I was the escrow officer, which I'm not, so I'll probably be as very vague as possible. The HUD one, you want to get the preliminary HUD prior to even the contract, so you can get some guesstimated numbers from all parties, including the lender and title. And so towards the end, once we get more details of payoff, anything that was forgotten, as well as the fees that will be on the contract. And we, as a title company, go back and forth with the lender to make sure we all, in their legal department, we're all on the same page to get you that final number of what you have to bring to the closing table or not. And it can be, your car alarm's going off, sorry. And it could be a little sketchy feeling because you might say, oh, my first one said I'm only bringing $500. And then your last closing documents will say, I have to bring $12,000. So let's make sure we go back over the numbers with your lender and your title company so we can all be on the same page and it's consistent and there's no surprises at the end. And sometimes there is, we just have to figure out why.
Right.
I'm not sure if that gave you a direct answer, but
no, that was that was just because we hear that all the time. Okay, we need the HUD one, but I just kind of wanted you to basically break down and just reiterate the fact that the final number, to your point, comes from the title company, and working with that lender to make sure that we have all the details. And, just from a lender perspective, to kind of break that down a little bit more, we keep talking about papers to closing. Like Letitia said, that is, oh my God, we just love that. Don't you, Letitia and Stephanie, don't you love when we call you guys and we say, oh, well, the closing papers are on the way to the title company. Everybody loves to hear that. Music to the ears.
Well, look, I just put up this meme that says, what 3 words are better than I love you? And I said, how about clear to close? So, clear to close. That's the 3 words I want to hear.
Right? CTC, clear to close. That is a wonderful sound. So when the lender sends over those papers to the title company, then it's the title company who's preparing that and getting it ready. As Kathy said, working with our closing department to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. So when you're at the closing table, the escrow person that closes you, you will notice that there's going to be a particular document that you're going to sign to say, hey, if we messed up, we get to call you back so you can re-sign that. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's all about. So, at the end of the day, Letitia, you mentioned this earlier, Kathy, title is to protect you. You don't move into a house where there's a tax lien or, we kind of talked, as Kathy mentioned, we kind of talked about the worst case scenarios. But, as she was talking about some of those, when I was originating, I'm like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Stephanie, do we have any questions from our Facebook audience?
We do not.
Well, that's not a problem at all, because I do have a couple things that I want to say. The very first thing that I want to say is, LaTanya, I absolutely love your hair.
It's beautiful.
Miss Letitia, are you going to come do it for me every morning? Because I won't be able to deal with this.
No, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
But I'd also like for you to give our audience your information. I think it's important that, and LaTanya, because you're such a major part in this whole Wisdom Wednesday, in the entire process. So will you let them know how to get a hold of LaTanya Donaldson there at Prime Lending?
Sure, absolutely. So, I want to say this. We mentioned it was our last show on this topic, probably. It appears we cannot end our relationship, nor do I want to, because we got some other things coming up based on our call on yesterday. So we're more to come on that, right? I love putting out these teasers. But
I know, I love it.
So, LaTanya Donaldson with Prime Lending. I am VP Director, National Director of Multicultural Lending. You can reach out to me. I know that this is a national show. I'll make sure that we put you with someone that's specific to your area. And our loan officers, they're just waiting to, reach out to you to help your dream become reality, and that is home ownership. I can be reached at L Donaldson, DONALDSON at primelending.com. L Donaldson at primelending.com.
Thank you, LaTanya. And Kathy, for those of our viewers that are in the Plano or Dallas area?
Yes, it's Kathy, CATHY, at Tiago, TIAGOTX.com. And you could probably find me on any social media because I'm on it constantly.
So I'm sorry, go ahead, Kathy.
Go ahead. No, it's fine.
No. I just wanted to say, I really want to thank you, Kathy, for joining us today. I know you have some challenges going on, and I just really appreciate that. I know we talked earlier, Letitia mentioned, it's all about partnerships, and really, really appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate getting to be with you ladies, and looking forward to 2021 with some successful women.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate it as well. And I myself have an announcement to make before we end. I think everyone saw the look on my face. I made a Facebook post saying that we have a special announcement, and here is the special announcement. Well, first of all, it's bittersweet, but I am excited because we're working on some new things. And I am stepping down as the National Chair of House in the Car, and our new chair will be none other than Stephanie Milburn.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. So well deserving.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes. I love working with Letitia and everyone else on this NAREB platform. So she's not going to be too far. She's going to be stepping down, but she's not going to be too far.
You know her number.
Absolutely.
Right. LaTanya's like, no.
Wait, you saw I was like, and when you said it's bittersweet, see, I just know, when they say it all works for the good,
Yeah,
I know whatever you guys are doing, it's all going to be good. So I'm
that's
not
right.
concerned.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
my
And when
gosh.
I say she's not too far, look, when I'm in the office, I'm gonna go right next door. Okay.
Literally.
For
Love it.
those that don't know, yeah, for those
Okay.
that don't know, we work together as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Oh,
Well, guys, I know
Yes.
Wisdom
So
Wednesday has
thank
concluded.
you. Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, Wisdom Wednesday has concluded, but don't you worry. This is not the last that you have seen of this trio. It seems as though we are all connected at a hip, and maybe I can be the middle hip, and then we have my left hip and my right hip.
That's
a little hokey
We,
pokey.
no,
right.
but it's been amazing. We are look now that our viewers have their homes for the holidays. It's just the thing about home ownership is it's not a one class know it all. The information is consistently changing. Therefore, we need to continue to provide you with that education. And why go any further? Just tune in to Houses in the Car, and there you are.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. House in the Car will be returning with our shows, with our homeownership Change my life, our Super Series Tuesday, as well as Millennial Talk Tuesday. So please stay tuned for that. And you never know what else we have coming up next. So please, guys, stay tuned because we are all about educating our community, educating our millennials, our Gen Xers, baby boomers, whatever you are. We are all about the education and we're about building wealth through home ownership.
Exciting. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
y'all for
Thank you
having
again.
All
me.
Of
right.
course. Thank you,
Bye.
Cassie.
Thank
Bye.
you.